Anas Alhajji. And Anas, let's just talk about this because, hey, great. By the way, you've been doing great work. Great work. I'm glad you had time to join us today. Many are saying that this is time to invoke the Mahan Doctrine, which essentially is saying, hey, you have a strong Navy, you must use it. Is this the time to sort of, can we resolve the strait with our Navy?
The issue is really not Iran. Iran cannot control the Hormuz Strait. They cannot block it. It is not in their interest. But it was blocked because of the insurance fiasco that we have. And this was exacerbated by the panic situation that we have in the market, because that panic created serious problems around the world because of the spot market. So we have ships basically, especially LNG, being redirected somewhere else and purchased and repurchased and repurchased and redirected again and again. So we have more oil on water, more LNG on water, but nothing reaching their destinations.
Right.
And we have countries that are panicking, that are literally prohibiting the exports of their petroleum products to the rest of the world. So we have kind of a ricochet reaction around the world that is making the situation worse.
So from the insurance point of view, right, the administration, they just announced a Development Finance Corporation. They're trying to offer coverage. They want to get this thing restarted. $20 billion in reinsurance. I've seen all kinds of numbers everywhere. If the U.S. can pull this off, and I don't know what's going to happen in Lloyd's of London if they come back at reasonable premiums, but if the U.S. can step in and fill that void, can these ships start moving?
It is very difficult to see that. The issue here is we have the insurance on one side, but the benefits, let's face this, the benefits to the United States from closing the Hormuz Strait are tremendous. I mean, the United States benefits greatly from it. Look at helium. 35% of the helium goes through the Hormuz Strait. That helium basically goes to the manufacturing of chips. And now the United States basically wanted to bring the chip industry to the United States. The United States wants to sell agricultural products to other countries. 33% of the fertilizer traded worldwide goes through the strait. Then you add oil, you add LNG, you add NGLs. You are literally, in a sense, by closing the Hormuz Strait, the industries in Asia are going to suffer greatly. And so it fits with several things that the Trump administration want, regardless whether this was the intention or not.
Right. So I want to pick up on that too, because you read my mind on a few of those things. But I want to ask about short-term fixes, because here in America, it's a midterm election year. There's a lot of talk out there. President Trump isn't blinking, and I don't think he will, but many are saying what can be done right now, if anything, to mitigate the price of oil. We know in Europe, that really the G7 talking about 400 million release of this Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Would that be an option in your mind? Price controls, ban U.S. exports, or just what the administration is saying it wants to do for now, stay the course?
None of those work except the large release of SPR. We've seen it before with the Biden administration, and it has to be large. 30 million or 60 million is not going to do it. We need a very large amount basically to tame prices. But this is really not the issue. All it takes basically is President Trump to go after the insurance companies in Europe and try to kind of make the area of danger smaller and limited to the Hormuz Strait instead of expanding it all the way from the Gulf to Sri Lanka. And that's because this is one of the problems that increase the risk. For the EU requires those companies to hold cash as the risk increases. And that is one of the problems. Those companies cannot have that much cash on hand. So something has to be done there instead of trying to reinvent the wheel.
You mentioned these Asian nations and how some of these things are falling right into President Trump's grand schemes with respect to doing business with us. China, I'm seeing nothing but good, nice headlines out of China. This ahead of course, that next month's meeting with Xi and President Trump. How much are these actions actually giving America leverage as we go into this next round of negotiations?
China will have no problem in the short run, but I can tell you if this is going to continue for 3 months, the largest loser from closing the Hormuz Strait is China. But in the short run, basically, they are fine because they already built their strategic petroleum reserves. They already have built their inventories to 1.2 billion barrels. They stock on natural gas. They stock on coal. So in the short run, they are fine. But if you talk about 2 to 3 months, they are in deep trouble. And therefore, yes, President Trump has the leverage, basically, over this.
Great stuff. Again, keep up the great work. It's hard keeping track of what's really happening out there. A lot of fake news, if you will, but you're the real deal. Appreciate you, Anas. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.